This is an important question. Should Wrestlepalooza happen again? Hello everybody, my name is Sancho West and welcome to Sancho West Wrestling, where we talk about all things wrestling. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about Wrestlepalooza and the fallout of every match on the card. If you want more of these videos, consider subscribing to the channel. Look, let's get this out the way. The first fallout is, of course, going to be the entire crown jewel Perth matchup of Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. And I'm really excited for this matchup. It was interesting to see what happened at Monday Night Raw. The promo together, the segment together was really good to see the history between Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. And at first you're like, wait, this is kind of weird, champion versus champion. I didn't like it last year between Gunther and Cody. There was no history between them, but the history between Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins is so vast, considering it was kind of formed in a short amount of time. Literally, Cody Rhodes comes back against Seth Rollins, beats him at WrestleMania, and then they had that awesome Hell in a Cell with Cody Rhodes with a torn pectoral, and already Cody Rhodes beat Seth Rollins 0-3. And the whole reason why I was shocked about those results was that Seth Rollins was the WWE guy. Seth Rollins was the guy that they were kind of promoting to be the face of the company. And then in comes Cody Rhodes, a quote-unquote outsider at the time from AEW, beating Seth Rollins clean all 3 times. I was shocked that happened, and I never thought they would do it not once, but twice, but 3 times in a row. So this is going to be a match that I'm looking forward to the most. In my prediction, this is going to be a Seth Rollins win. Seth Rollins needs this more than ever. Cody Rhodes kind of beat Gunther in a roll-up kind of way, and like I mentioned, with no story in that matchup, it was like, oh, okay, Gunther lost, and that definitely hurt Gunther the most. So in this kind of scenario, if Seth Rollins loses, that will hurt him the most. But I do think what's going to happen in this kind of program is Cody Rhodes is going to start pulling at the babyface Seth Rollins. You kind of saw in the promo a little bit how he's saying he doesn't need the goons of the Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker. That's going to start pulling at Seth Rollins. He's going to remind him of all the good things that he did to help Cody Rhodes finish the story, yada, yada, yada. And at the end of the day, there's going to be a moment where Seth Rollins is going to choose to do it the wrong way or the right way. And he's going to choose the right way, and maybe that ends up costing him the match. But I do believe Seth Rollins is going to start the wedge, the divide, the cracking of the vision. And the second fallout is Stephanie Vaquero. I mean, what an amazing promo she had on Monday night. I absolutely love that her English is getting better. This is something that she's been working on. In the interview with Chris Van Vliet, she's been really grinding to get it right, and she wants to become a champion in the WWE, and she feels that that's a route. I personally think that it's interesting that, you know, Penta could do the Spanish and not care about translating, but it's nice to see Stephanie Vaquero do both and speak Spanish. So I'm absolutely enamored with Stephanie Vaquero. I think she's going to do great as a champion, and I think this is a good kind of stopping point for that championship. In the past women's championship, if someone gets hurt, that thing goes on ice. And that's a kind of my fear here, because it looks like Roxy and Raquel are stuck in this vortex with Two-Face Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. So you're not going to get that matchup. And that's something that I predicted, because Roxy and Raquel will be a great kind of foil for Stephanie Vaquero to work against. A 2v1 scenario. She could have matches with Roxy. She could have matches with Raquel. Both had great matches with Io Sky. So they could produce a great little triangle feud for a bit. But that is entirely off the table, considering that Bayley and Lyra can do that. You're going to see tag team matches with them. So obviously the next one is Rhea Ripley. That one comes with a lot of baggage, though. I mean, I know they had to tease of Rhea Ripley and Stephanie Vaquero stare down. They do that multiple times. But Rhea right now is kind of wrapped up in the vortex of Io Sky, Asuka, and Kairi. And if that's going to take a while, there's no way they're going to be able to kind of wrap that up before we get to Perth. And of course, that's going to be in Rhea Ripley's backyard. I would obviously like a Rhea Ripley versus Stephanie Vaquero in Australia, but those odds of retaining in that big first title defense on a PLE for Stephanie Vaquero are going to be really, really low. So I think Rhea and Io Sky were going to be in a matchup against the Kabuki Warriors. That means Stephanie Vaquero is unfortunately going to go on ice. I honestly don't see any other person that could step up to Stephanie Vaquero at this moment. If it was me, I would give her to someone from a AAA just to fight up against somebody, to give her some reps, somebody, a notable character over there. Maybe La Flamer. Like, let's have a champion versus champion. Let's bring in the La Reñas into the WWE. Io Sky, like I mentioned, man, we saw what happened the Monday Night Raw team up with Rhea Ripley. She gets turned by Asuka, a little poison miss on Rhea Ripley, and then Asuka and Kairi both jump Io Sky. I'm hoping, like I mentioned, this feud ends by Perth, but I don't see it happening. It's going to be Io Sky and Rhea Ripley and the Kabuki Warriors at Perth. The Usos will be the third fallout, and I enjoyed what we got from the taste of Monday Night Raw. We got Jey Uso leaning towards the dark side, the heel side, while his brother's keeper, Jimmy, is going to do all that he can to keep him face. And what's really good about Jey Uso is bloodline drama. There's nothing like that goes hand to hand together like Jey Uso and that bloodline beef. There's nothing like it. I mean, that's what helped him in the Thunderdome. That's what ascended Jey into some main event level because of his Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, those back and forth, and that's where Jey really excels at. He's really great as a tweener. He's a heel in the face at the same time. You root for him to turn good. You root for him to stay away from the heel side, and that's what I believe the WWE is going to do. They're going to cater to Jey's strength, the emotion, the drama, the anguish that he has. The faces that he made at Monday night was really, really good. Him staring at Cody, him staring at the undisputed title. Like, that's what I absolutely love from Jey Uso. I mean, he's not a great promo guy, no, but he could really draw you in with his mannerisms, with his facial expressions. And he had a great match with LA Knight. Damn, both Team Yeah and Team Yeet had great matches, and not a bad match for just two dudes that were supposed to be just surface level catchphrases. They could actually bang. And I really do believe that the WWE is looking for a Roman Reigns 2.0. They want another tribal chief. So they're going to rehash this entire storyline with Jey Uso. And I think this time will work. A lot of people didn't believe in Solo Sikoa, but Jey Uso could really reunite the entire bloodline. And if they want to do it, I believe if Jey Uso could just start running the entire yard as the new tribal chief over all the bloodline members, including Jacob Batu, I think that'd be sick. And if they want to do that and Roman Reigns just becomes a secondary character because he has a light schedule, that would be baller. The next fallout is the Brawnies. You know what? They got to go for gold. It's just plain as day, right? You need gold on the Visions, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed. Like I mentioned, when they got with Seth Rollins, they felt nerfed, they felt goons, they felt like stooges. All they did was just lose. They would eat pins for Seth Rollins. That they were both featured on a PLE. They had to lose because Seth Rollins was going to come out on top. Now they flipped that order, and I do believe they're going to have eyes on the Judgment Day's titles. And I think it's going to be great for them because they need to start getting traction so they could start believing in themselves. Already the WWE, you got to be mindful of the way they do shots, right? They had Seth Rollins in the ring by himself, and then you had Paul Heyman and Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker on the other side. That tells me they're going to start creating this wedge, and you can only create a wedge when one side is stronger or just as strong as the other. If they believe that Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker could do it on their own, they could start pushing out Seth Rollins from the Vision. Number 4, and the biggest fallout, is Brock Lesnar. Wow, I still love that moment with Paul Heyman introducing with Brock Lesnar. I don't think this is going to be a permanent thing. There's no way they're going to put Brock Lesnar with the Vision. It just doesn't match because the Vision is all about the future and Brock Lesnar is about 50 years old. But there's a lot of reports, of course, swirling around this Brock Lesnar John Cena thing, what the match was supposed to be at the night of, what Brock Lesnar is going to do. Is Brock Lesnar and John Cena going to have a match afterwards? I do see Brock Lesnar, and I know you're going to groan, I do see Brock Lesnar going after Cody Rhodes in the undisputed title. They're going to have this moment where he's going to go out there and challenge Cody Rhodes. We're all going to groan, but I'm sorry, he's going to beat Cody Rhodes. This has to set up a rematch for John Cena. Despite all reports, this has to be John Cena versus Brock Lesnar for the undisputed title, for John Cena to go out on top with the belt and to be the last real champion. It's the only logical storyline going forward. Now, we all know that WWE and Logic sometimes don't mix. Sometimes they go for the moon. They go for an out of bounce, like a flea flicker play out of nowhere. But this is the simple play. Just hand off the ball to John Cena, Brock Lesnar, and just punch it up the gut. And for John Cena, I do predict him to go on ice for a bit. I don't think we're going to have a match at Perth. I know he's on the poster, but I just don't see any match happening for John Cena unless they want to run back John Cena and AJ Styles, which is something that John Cena has tweezed on his socials. But that seems like a Raw match because he did put hashtag WWE Raw, I do believe. But AJ Styles, John Cena, maybe at Perth. I do see that, but it'd be really cool. And finally, of course, the two fallouts is CM Punk. Another person that I believe that's going to go on ice for a bit after this Wrestlepalooza. Both titles are kind of stuck in the same storyline, which that's why I don't like about Crown Jewel, because it then just eats up a lot of characters, right? Especially the big prizes. So it basically leaves Punk nothing to do. Maybe he just chills out with AJ Lee and just becomes the continuing the bit of AJ Lee's husband, which wouldn't be a bad thing for CM Punk. He could throttle down for a bit and chill, considering that Gunther's not around, and maybe Gunther makes a comeback and attacks CM Punk to start that storyline. But I kind of am not happy or not excited to see storylines that don't have no end goal of goal. I feel like a lot of the WWE storylines right now are about personal grudges, and that doesn't really have a good tail. Like, look at Damian Priest and Aleister Black. If it was for a #1 contendership for the United States title, that'd be cool. But unfortunately, it's just these two dudes don't like each other. I know at the end of the day, some people like those kind of storylines, but when everybody on the roster almost has those storylines, so just to keep them preoccupied, then it doesn't work. Like, look at Rusev. Rusev is going after Dominic, and he wants that title, and that adds a little bit of that more pizzazz. It adds a little bit of spice. Speaking of spice, AJ Lee. What a great addition to the women's roster. I definitely see AJ Lee going after Becky Lynch's IC title. It just makes logical sense considering that Becky Lynch submitted to AJ Lee in the Black Widow at Wrestlepalooza. And this is where I think that's going to be very important, though, because Becky Lynch needs to start kind of taking over the talking space of the Vision, because she's going to start doing a wedge. You know, you already saw in the backstage segment where she's just literally talking and Seth Rollins is in his own world. And I think they're going to continue that vibe that Becky Lynch is kind of going to ruin the quote-unquote aura, lack of a better word, between the Vision and Rollins. And at the end of the day, the last question is, should Wrestlepalooza happen again? I think if they were going to do Wrestlepalooza, let's make it more exciting. Let's change the venue. Let's put it like at a beach. Let's put it at Sturgis. Let's make it as if it's like a special one-off event. Even though it feels like a one-off event, all I know is this is not the right start for Wrestlepalooza. Even ESPN's reporters gave it a C, and I think it's because it just was too safe. And if they had plans to make big changes and then they kind of walked back on those plans last minute, literally day of, it just shows you that they did not want to make a really bad impression, and they wanted to make safe choices so the ESPN audience could ease their way into the WWE. Hopefully, if the end goal is to build up to WrestleMania-like levels PLE, they need to start making bold choices. I will give them credit. This PLE, not a lot of people were talking about it, had a lot of clean finishes. Even though some of them were awkward, like the main event with the referee, there was really no shenanigans throughout this entire night. And it all ended cleanly, which is something that the WWE has yet to do. And sometimes the WWE, because a lot of the main event or big PLE matches end with shenanigans, when it doesn't have shenanigans, you make it feel like it was too safe of a choice. But I still believe that safe choices are the most dangerous one, but clean finishes are bold choices, because then you say, hey, this wrestler is better than that wrestler. And if the WWE can stop protecting talent with weird ref choices, then you're going to get a big thumbs up from me. Regardless, I think Wrestlepalooza happens again, but make it special. Give it that ESPN Sports vibe. Have it in a college stadium. Make it feel like it's a part of something bigger beyond the WWE if it is a Wrestlepalooza. Hell, make it a party, brother. Well, thank you so much for watching this episode. Consider subscribing if you made it this far. I really appreciate the love lately on my last video of my Wrestlepalooza review. Thank you so much. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.